We have a whole bunch of new stuff to check out, so let's get into it. We're going to start off with the new Artisan Prime. This is a brand new model that just dropped. It is a sheep's foot blade, or does have a sheep's foot blade with a bit of poon action there. I'm adjusting my light just a little bit. We do have a titanium frame lock. I like the way that clip is. And then the titanium has this micro milling over the handle. It looks really, really well done. So this one has green micarta. I know it's more of a brown. Everybody always says that. That doesn't look like green micarta. Well, this is the good green micarta. This is the kind of micarta. It looks brown, but over time what happens is as it gets darker, it turns into a dark, rich green. And this one has really good fibers in it. You can see it's a good quality micarta. It's the furry type, the kind that actually offers traction. It's not polished, it's not slick. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that stuff, but sometimes, you know, it just depends on your preference. The thumb stud action is beautiful on this. They are proud of the scales, so they're very easy, and they kind of chamfer this down a little bit, so it's so easy to get to these thumb studs. And these are large thumb studs with good traction around the outsides. Ergonomics, I can get a full 4-finger grip on it. And it's comfortable. It's not like really comfortable, but it's okay. You know, this is a little thin right here. I do feel this stuff. I feel the clip, but it's not something where I would complain about it. Good access to the lock bar, really smooth on the drop, and this hasn't even broken in yet, so you can imagine after, you know, it breaks in, it'll probably be a false shut action. The clip seems like a good clip. You know, it's a good looking clip. I like that. I kind of wish they put the texture on this side, but you know, it's decently smooth and out of the pocket. The stop pin's in an okay place back there. As far as negatives go, the only thing I can really say is the plunge right here. If you look at it, you can see how they tapered the plunge. They tried to make it to where it wasn't going to affect you, but when I go like this with my fingers, I can feel it is thicker right here. And I bet you if I really look at that edge, yeah, if you really look, you can tell it's already kind of affected by the factory edge. I know it looks perfectly straight, but it pokes down ever so slightly. That's a small nitpick. I know it's not nothing like to really, you know, go crazy about, but you know, if it's done, because there's different ways to do it where this could be really bad, just like this. This one's not as bad as it could be, but yes, I do feel it. When I feel the thickness of the edge, as soon as I get here, I can feel it instantly gets thicker right at that end. Not that big of a deal, but that'd really be my only nitpick right off the bat, you know. T6, I'd rather see it be T8s, but regardless, we have S90V, which is always awesome. S90V is a phenomenal steel, so this is going to be a steel that should hold a really good edge as long as the heat treat's done well. So yeah, let's check out this next one. Next, we have the Caval Mantis. This is somewhat of a well, no, not somewhat. It's a self-defense knife. Now, the Caval Mantis comes in a really nice box, but man, when I went to pull it out, look, that part ripped on me. It's a decent way to package a knife. I actually like their packaging for the most part, but I have had this same thing happen to 2 of them, and I like, you know, that's for moisture control, but I've had this happen to 2 different boxes. But anyways, the knife, which is the important part, we have the Mantis here. And the Mantis is a knife that's designed to be in the gas station knife fighting grip or Caval grip. This is, you know, a Caval style knife. It has a harpooned hawkbill blade, and it has, in my opinion, the exact type of geometry I would want from something like this. It's not so thin that it's going to be fragile, but it's also not thick enough to where it's not going to brutally cut whatever you know, go after. This is it's nice and thin while not being too thin. So perfect thickness. The blade steel on this, I don't even know. Elmax, nice. Elmax steel. It's got a little tiny logo right there. You can probably barely see it. Titanium handles with this wood grain texture over it. It is nice and thick. It does look really cool, and it actually does kind of feel like wood to some extent. We have what I think is a steel liner lock, and it has a deep carry wire clip. I just want to check this liner. Yeah, steel liner lock. and a deep carry wire clip. Nice little texture back there. I don't know if that's gonna affect anything, but you know, it'd be for your thumb to cap off. I will say this, you know, I was messing around with this thing. First off, really quick, the action. The action is ridiculously good. Because of this shape always does really well. I recently checked out another knife design, same designer, and it was by, who was it by? Sativian. It was by Sativian. And, or no, sorry, Trivisa. It was Trivisa. My bad. It was Trivisa. And like I said, same designer. And the designer is Teguas. Teguas, I've had a lot of his designs. And the one I recently had, same action, where the flipper tab is positioned in a way that when you snap it out, look at how far you get to push the blade. That's, you know, so it makes it to where adding a detent to that, it just rapidly deploys. Like, it almost feels unnaturally strong or unnaturally snappy. Very, very snappy. You can even thumb it. Now, this one is not going to be for everybody because you're going to have to know or at least train a little bit with it. Now, I will say, even just putting it in like a standard grip, you know, it looks like it's not going to be very effective because it's kind of clawing at the side, but it's actually pretty effective. I was poking around at some boxes and I was surprised how easy you can strike with this regardless of what grip you're in. Now, yeah, it's supposed to be in this grip right here, but you can easily pinch it in this grip and do a back fist. You can easily leave it in the Caval grip, you know, and claw at things. And even in the forward grip, you know, you can lunge forward, you can claw forward, and it works. Even like with the side swipe like this way. Now, if you do put it in that grip, make sure you don't put your finger right there because you'll accidentally unlock it. So wrap your finger around it. Just train with it, you know, try to pull it out of your pocket. You want to be able to remove it out of your pocket, snap it out, and train doing this pinch, the rotate, and then the grip. So it's pretty easy to do when you get used to it. So you're going to pull it out of your pocket, you're going to flip it, and then if you have time, because otherwise just get right to a grip that you can get to, but otherwise flip it and cap it off. And now you're ready for action. So awesome knife. I always like Teguas's designs. CAVOL does a really good job. I have a bunch of their knives, and I don't think there's one I dislike. So, you know, some I like more than others, but having a wire clip is going to make it one very deep carry, very smooth in and out of the pocket. You're not going to have to worry about it messing with your jeans or messing up your pockets or anything like that. Sharpen tool and plunge grind is really good on this. I like LMAX steel. The detent's really solid. I like how the backspacer matches up with the titanium. This is a good one. This is a really cool one. So if you like Caval style knives or, you know, self-defense style blades that are, you know, folding knife designs, this is one to maybe check out. The next one is the new Concept Helix. Now, I used to have the titanium frame lock version of this, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. I wound up actually giving it away, you know, to one, you know, in a giveaway. Anyways, this is a budget version, so this is much more affordable. However, I have some significant issues with this thing. You know, one, it's a cool knife, and it could be just this one and not all of them, but it has a drop point Tonto style blade with a very subtle secondary tip. You could easily sharpen this into just a regular drop point. Really functional jimping, nice choke up spot right there. We have the blue micarta, which I do like over the black washed titanium. It is a button lock. Deep carry clip. Don't like the button screws, but that's not that big of a deal, but it does have those. But, you know, the black wash does look really good. The D10 in action is phenomenal. I mean, they tuned it pretty well. Not the strongest detent, but the way the leverage is from this flipper tab, you really don't need a strong detent for it to thwack out there with authority, but you can also easily still reverse or thumb flick it. So this is one that you could add a little thumb stud to, or, you know, just use like I am right now. Then obviously you can do the button swing. But my issue with this thing is this thing has serious play. Like, it feels like it is a rattle thunderclap. Like, it is just rattling away. And that was the way it was right out of the box. I'm not sure how this got past QC, or if something happened in transportation. I know sometimes, and I've had this happen with my own stuff, you know, things expand and contract in the containers that when they're shipped, because, you know, some of those containers, they're going to wind up going through areas that are 110 degrees inside of a closed container. So the parts will expand. And then by the time they contract, but I did try to tighten everything up, and right now it is rock solid, no side to side, but it has some serious up and down. So that to me is a no-go for this one. Now, the ergos are really good. It has the potential to be a really cool knife. The button, another thing that I have an issue with, the button is countersunk, which I don't mind that, but you really have to push that button all the way in. And so what I do sometimes, I'll push the button and I just get to this point and then I have to really push it in to close it. So obviously it just takes a few times and you'll get used to it, and you'll know, like, don't only lightly push it all the way in. So you do have to intentionally push it, which there is a good thing about that it's not, you know, just going to unlock from you squeezing it. So, you know, that's a good thing. I did spine whack it and it did not fail, but I know with this much rattle, it's only going to get worse and worse. Now, I could stretch the spring and possibly help it a little bit, but this is a little too significant, I think, to fix with stretching the spring. Next is the Workos TS10. This is not rechargeable. This one is battery operated with a AA battery. You can see 1400 lumens, 130 feet max throw. It's a little compact light, but I gotta say, it's actually pretty cool. I love the copper and titanium combination. It's got a regular clicky, you know, just a pad. You can hear a little bit of spring in there, but what you do is it also has these little lights in there. I'm not sure exactly how to use those. I'm sure the directions say. I haven't needed to use them, but you can just pop it on, pop it off, pop it on, pop it off. Very simple, right? And it always does a color after I turn it off, and then it'll slowly die down. Now, when I pop it on, if I want to change the light, I just hold it down. So now it'll go all the way to bright, and then I can let it go. So now when I turn it off and on, it'll be at that full brightness. Now if I want to go down, I just hold it down again. It goes all the way down to moonlight. And that's where it'll be at when I turn it on and off. Now, want to go back up, just hold it down. So, very simple. That's what I love about it. It's a simple flashlight. You don't need any knowledge to use it. There's no, I don't think there's any programming to it, at least not that much. And if there is, you know, I don't know. I haven't used it. I just think just the way it works right now, the way it is perfect. Because this is exactly how I want my light. I want it to, one, go right to the same mode that I just stopped it at, so that I can literally leave it where I want it. But number two, if I want to adjust it, it's an easy adjust. I don't have to sit there and try to fumble around with other buttons and figure it out. One button does it all, and it's super, super easy to use. I like that it's titanium. You could easily anodize this, flame anno it, whatever. The copper you could patina. So, which I've been known to do with some of my copper flashlights. So, you know, that's something, you know, I always think about when I see something. If I really, really like it, it's like, do I want to put my little touch on it? And this one just might be one for you, because it is a really good little flashlight. Now, it is... This little guy came in the box. I'm not sure what it's for, if it's to waterproof it or something. I don't know. Maybe it's to make it like a lamp, because you can absolutely do that, like when you cover, you know, a light like that. But I don't know. I don't know what it's for. It's not rechargeable. It's just a AA battery. So that's also something very easy. A lot of people have AA batteries. You can just interchange it. I like rechargeable lights, but then I also like having some that I can just easily replace the battery, so that way I don't have to worry about needing a battery pack or anything. Throw a couple batteries in and I know I have plenty of life, you know, if anything happens and I need to rely on a flashlight long term. So yeah, the Workos TS10. I will try to link that in the description. Then we have some knives from Vosteed. This is, I think it's the mini groundhog, I think is what it is. And I will say, man, this thing's actually pretty cool. Very snappy front flipper. They put the jimping, the good jimping, they put it all the way up to the top, and then added one little extra one right up there at the top, so you can easily snap it, even if you're all the way at the tippity tip, which I like. That's the way it should be. You should always do that, because then it makes it to where if you are right at the top, you can still snap it out. almost a spear pointish blade. That's what I would call it. I like it, you know, nice little dagger style blade without being sharp on the spine, obviously, but the same shape where the edge and the spine do the exact same thing down to the tip. That's a spear point. So sharpen control and plunge grind looks good. Gave you plenty of life to sharpen off. Nice little finger twirl. G10 scales or steel liners, deep carry clip that's inset with flat screws. Love to see that. Not reversible. There's a little lanyard post right there. Nice traction on the lock bar with plenty of access. And you have the hole deployment that you can slow roll or flick. It's a compact little knife. You can get a full 4-finger grip, but it's nothing, you know, too big. It's something that you could put in a 5th pocket probably. 14C28N. Love to see that blade steel. You know, yeah, it's a nice little pocket knife. I would say that this would be probably pretty good for a lot of people. People that just want to carry something small, something compact, something lightweight. They don't need nothing crazy, just something to open up some boxes, maybe break something down if they need to. Bang. So yeah, pretty cool. Now, more from Boss Steed. I said in a video yesterday, or you know, from the time I posted this, that this was not available yet, but it is. This is available, the Titanium Mini Vosteed Nightshade. Now, I have many versions of this, and there is many versions to get. There is large ones, small ones, crossbar lock ones, liner lock ones, all different flavors, all different kinds, all different steels. This one's an S35VN with a satin blade with this diamond texture, diamond patterned titanium. We have an aluminum blue backspacer and thumb studs. The crossbar lock is very intuitive. You can easily get to it. It has a nice sound. Not sure if it's coming over the mic, but it has a nice little ting. Anyways, thumb studs are really easy to get to. Very snappy. That's me bouncing that. I'm smacking it way too hard under the camera. It's easy to land. You just gotta time it. It's like any crossbar lock. Now this one, even though it's so tiny, you can easily get a full grip on it. Now what's beautiful about a shilling cutter, because that's what this is it's always aiming at what you're cutting. It doesn't matter what direction, that's what the blade does. It's made to basically aim at whatever you're doing. You can cut down on a flat surface, you can do utility cuts, you can trap materials for long distance cuts, you can trap ropes, you can cut sideways, you know, you can cut backwards. It's basically just a very useful shape and design that makes it very easy to use. We have a deep carry clip that's not inset, but or no, wait, is it inset? Yeah, it's inset, but it's partially out. Maybe not. No, it is inset. It's partially out, but it's inset, and you can see it's inset on the side with flat screws. Love to see that. And yeah, S35, nothing wrong with S35VN. I like S35. S35 is still a great quality steel. You know, plenty of stainlessness, plenty of edge retention, plenty of toughness. It's a good steel, especially for something small and compact like this. Yeah, so I personally love the Nightshade. I prefer the larger one, but I will say though, the Mini is really good. Like, I've heard many people say they like the Mini even more than the big one. So, you know, it's just preference. I want to see them do an XL size one. That's what I want to see. Anyways, there you guys. What? Next we have a fixed blade. Now, this one I've shown off before, but I pulled it out because I couldn't help but think, how cool of a design. How cool of a design. Now, this is the Canary, the fixed blade Canary, but it's a big one. They do have a mini, a small Canary. They have a folding Canary. They have all kinds of Canaries. This is a large Canary fixed blade. Now, it has a great sheath, or great Kydex sheath. The belt clip, you know, you could put a tech lock on there if you want to, but this one should work just fine for you. But it has a nice push-off spot. The ergonomics are exactly what you want from a fixed blade, and it has a beautiful blade shape for basically everything you're going to use a fixed blade for. It has really good geometry. It has a nice thin edge without being too thin. It's not going to be fragile. This is something you could definitely do some light chopping with, but it's going to be more of like a camp buddy, something, you know, for you to make fires with. The spine, not a sharp spine, so that is one thing. You could always flatten that out a little bit and make it a little sharper. It might be able to strike a fire. It's really close, but it's hard to say. The blade steel is, and I'm not sure about this blade steel, I think it's a DC53. I think it's DC53, but it's saying CR8MO2VSI. I think that's basically DC53, which is basically D2. DC53 does have a couple other little things in it, not just D2, so it does change it just a little bit. And from my experience, when I tested it one time, it tested really well, took a really good edge. It felt much different than D2. It really did. Like I would have never thought it had anything to do with D2. Now, you could say the same thing about CTS XHP. That's basically a stainless D2, but it is completely different. But that's how it goes with steels. You add or take something out of a steel and it completely changes it. But I just think that this is possibly one for, you know, people to look at if you're looking for a relatively affordable, quality camp knife, or just, you know, a compact fixed blade. This is something you could definitely baton with. You could definitely break down firewood with. You know, you could definitely hunt with it and do different things with it. These scales, if you needed to take them off to oil underneath or to wash it or whatever, you could easily take them off. It does have the nice holes in it to bring down the weight, which is also something really good for campers and hikers and stuff. You might not want something super heavy. So anyways, I just thought I'd bring it back to your guys' attention, because after pulling it out, I was like, man, this is a damn good fixed blade, like a really good one. And I don't think I gave it as much love as it deserved when I first unboxed it. If you guys like this type of content, I will put some cards up on the screen for you to click on. Work hard, stay tough. Until next time, peace.